Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. Joffrey Noodle Legs here today. Today I've got another list for you, not a top 10, but another list. Recently over the last few weeks I've been watching quite a few movies. The lad Lemon Lord's been up, so we've been catching up and watching a load of movies together, and I've been watching quite a few new movies that have been brought over the last few sort of months and stuff like that, and not got around to watching. So what I've got here is a lot of films that I've watched recently that have turned out to be awesome. I mean, because I've watched some movies that turned out to be absolute tripe, but I'm not going to put them in here. So I'm not going to waste your time and put movies up that are sort of not very good, because I want you to, I don't want you, you know, I don't want you to waste your time. So I've got it's not a 10. How many have I got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 8, 12. So it's a 12 movies I've watched recently that turned out to be awesome. Now a lot of these I've seen before, okay, but I've just not seen them for a long time, and I've just really enjoyed them. So let's crack on. First one is an Arrow film. This is one that I saw for the first time when I bought it, starring Ellen Hunt, and it's I See You. This was a really cool film. I loved it. It's about a young boy that goes sort of missing in a town, and it's like a small town, and they're all going sort of like investigating about it, and it's sort of like a sort of supernatural sort of story going behind it, and it stars Helen Hunt, and I actually really enjoyed it. It's really cool. That's probably the most sort of, I would change the cover around because I preferred it, but that's the most sort of cover you'll probably see it in the store if you're looking for it. Yeah, it's a really cool sort of film, really different, and with like twists and stuff in it, and I really enjoyed it. It's a horror film, but it's quite tame on the horror front. It was more of a sort of a drama, sort of investigation sort of film with sort of like horror elements. Really enjoyed that movie. Really cool. Now this one I reviewed a few days ago on my channel, and this is a western, and it's Cemetery Without Crosses. Now this is a spaghetti western, 1970s I believe, spaghetti western. It might be even earlier, but it's a typical revenge movie. Her husband gets killed by a family of like horse hustlers, and she gets this gunslinger to help get revenge on. So it's a really cool sort of film, worth watching if you like westerns. Even if you don't like westerns, if you're not really into a lot of westerns, but you do like horror films, and you do like films that are quite dramatic and quite sort of like serious sort of films, always go for a spaghetti western, because they were made with a little bit more conviction, you know, not like you're sort of like, there's nothing wrong with John Wayne westerns and Henry Ford westerns, because I love them, but if you want something a bit more gritty, then the spaghetti western genre is the one for you, and this one sits right in there, and it was really cool film. Really enjoyed it. Next one was a comedy. I think I did a review of it on my page, I'm sure I did, and it's Haunted Honeymoon with Gene Wilder. Because I had this years ago on DVD, and I managed to pick it up on Blu-ray. It's been out for a little while, but it seems to be disappearing in a lot of places, and places are not reordering it in. So I thought, well, I better pick this up just in case it disappears off the shelf. So I love this film. I love Gene Wilder. I loved him in The Young Frankenstein, and I love him in this. This again is another sort of like horror spoof film, Haunted, where this couple go on. A family member dies, and it's all about the will and the family. Oh, it's fantastic. Really cool. Great big cast as well. Absolutely fantastic. Please watch this if you've never seen it. If you like things like Young Frankenstein and all those sort of spoofy sort of horrors, watch this. You know, it's really cool. Classic Video Nasty next, which I watched a few weeks ago with just before Christmas with the lad, and that was the Toolbox Murders. This is the original one, which was fantastic. It's a really cool film about a guy that's doing killings with tools, and it was on the video nasty list, obviously, because one of the major things of the video nasties was films being shot by weapons being used, like everyday tools, like hammers and saws or axes or chainsaws, whatever. So this was like the sort of one of those sort of films, like the Driller Killer. This one is more similar to New York Ripper. It's about a serial killer, and it's really, really cool. The only thing I'd say to you, that the first half an hour, it's full on. It's full on. There's lots of kills, there's lots of gore, there's lots of nudity, and then we have like 40 minutes of jibber jabber, and then we have the last 20 minutes of full on. So just be prepared for that. That's the only criticism I've ever had about this film, is the pacing of it. I just think it needed to be paced better. You know, the killings could have been spread out a bit better and made it a bit more sort of like you know, easier to watch, because you can find yourself getting a bit in the middle, because you know, nothing really happens. But great film, Toolbox Murders. Sorry if you can hear the weather. It's absolutely chucking it down out there today. But there we go. Next one is a more sort of recently sort of film, a British horror from the directors of The Woman in Black and The Descent, and this is called Howl, starring Sean Pertwee in that. But it's really, really cool. It's a werewolf sort of film based around a train that's sort of trapped in the middle of nowhere in England. Now, I much preferred this over Dog Soldiers. I find Dog Soldiers really overrated. I thought this was a much more better werewolf film, just because it was a lot more fun and the characters were really cool, and I liked it because it was more claustrophobic, and yeah, I like that. Now, if you've seen Horror Hands channel this week, he's put a video out saying films he would not have survived in. I would not have survived this one, because I work on trains, and I would have followed everything by the rules, and so I would have died straight away. But there you go. But yeah, that was a great watch. Howl, if you've not seen it. It's dirt cheap as well. Now, this is probably one of the best films I've seen in a long time, and it's been out, came out last year from Arrow. The film's it's an 80s film, but it came out last year on Arrow, and a lot of people gave it really mediocre reviews, which kind of stopped me from buying it and watching it. But then I got it in a sale in October on Arrow. I thought, oh, I'm going to go for it and see what it's like, and I love it. It's girls' night out. It's fantastic. It's such a cool film. This, to me, goes alongside Pieces. It's that sort of film to me. It was fun. It was cool. Yes, there's not too many kills in there, and it can be quite slow paced, but the bits where there's no killings and slow pace were still fun. It was so cool. It was like it gave you a little mixture like Porky's in there with like a slasher film, and it just works, and it's really, really cool. Really enjoyed it. And the kills, when they do come, are quite gory and quite good. Really, really enjoyed it. Really underrated film. I think it got quite a few too many mediocre reviews out there, and not given the love it really deserves. Fantastic release. Well done, Arrow. That was great. Great film. Girls' Night Out. Another classic next, which I used to own on VHS. I've not seen it since the VHS days, but I picked it up, and this is on 88 Films, and this was their first slasher film in their slasher collection, and it was Graduation Day. Again, it's another teen graduation, sorority house, high school slasher movie, and it was great. Really, really cool. Very similar to things like Prom Night. It was very, very similar to that, because again, it was quite slow, and you know, not as gory as a lot of the other sort of slashers out there. But man, it was great fun. It was like going back to the 1980s, and I picked this up just because I've not seen it since I had it on VHS. I bought that from Video Choices in the 1980s in Stevenage on VHS, an extra rental copy. I think it cost me £2.99. And it hasn't moved on that much. I think this cost me 10 quid. So hey, that's not bad. So I picked that up, Graduation Day, the first one in the 88 films. So that's really cool, really great film. Now, this one, I really loved it, really enjoyed it, but it was absolutely sick. It was really disgusting sort of film, but I still really enjoyed it. And it's the Ebola Syndrome. Um, this is a Chinese horror film based about this guy who's horrendous. He's a horrible person. He kills his family, and then he goes to live in South Africa. And while he's out there working, he gets the Ebola virus, and he spreads it around disgustingly and horrible things, and he kills loads of people. It's a really sort of gross out sort of watch, but still very, very cool and very fun. Although it was gross out, it wasn't like offensive like Salo or anything like that, or the Serbian film. It was nowhere near as offensive as that. It was more of a fun gross out, you know, but it was still really, really cool. If you've not seen that and you're into your sort of extreme horror films, yeah, you got to watch it. It's really, really cool. This next one came out in the cinema last year. Didn't get to see it. Again, it's another one that's come on a lot of channels to very mediocre reviews. And me and the lad watched it and I loved it. Thought it was really cool. And that was Smile. Really good film. It's about this. It's very. If you've ever seen a film called It Follows, it's like that pretty much. In that film, it's like a curse that you pass on to someone else. This is kind of similar. It's like a curse that's passed on, and it's based on if you've seen someone commit suicide, you get cursed by something, and it passes on, and it's like that. And the only other way to get rid of the curse is to commit suicide or to kill someone. So that's the sort of premise of the film. I've not done a review on my channel of this just because it's quite recent, but let's have a look at that maybe in a few weeks' time and do a review of it. But yeah, I actually really enjoyed it. Very, very slow paced. Not a lot of action in it. Not a lot going on in it. But still really cool story. Good film. Another classic next. I believe this was also a video nasty. Visiting Hours. Starring Michael Ironside and William Shatner. This is based in the hospital. About sort of it's a slasher based in the hospital. About this killer's got this, who tried to kill this TV reporter woman, and she survives, and he still stalks her and stuff, and he kills sort of like different people in the hospital and stuff like that. It's a good fun movie. Really enjoyed it. We sat and had a giggle at it when we watched it, because it was quite giggly. Sort of, it's one of those sort of like horror movies that make you sort of giggle. Not supposed to, but it does. But yeah, really enjoyed it. Visiting Hours, worth a check if you've not seen it. I can't remember who made this one. I'm not sure if it's an import. I'm not sure, but yeah, I've got the sort of like original cover up because I like that more. It's really cool. 2 more to go. This is another great film, another British film by, this one is it Shane Meadows, I think, directed this one, and it's a really cool revenge movie called Dead Man's Shoes. It's again, it's more of a drama than a horror, but it does have horror elements into it. And it's about a guy from the army whose brother suffers from sort of like some looks like some form of autism or something like that, and he's, you know, and he's a very sweet-minded young lad, but he gets picked on by the local drug takers and yobs while his brother's away in the army. So he comes back and sort of avenges his brother as being treated that way. It's a very depressing film, but very, very well acted, very, very cool. Dead Man's Shoes, definitely worth a watch. Last but not least is a classic film that I reviewed on my channel last week, and I finally picked it up on the Blu-rays, a 4K restored version, and it's Suspiria. Because before this I had just the DVD, which I've still got, the DVD. Yeah, I've still got the DVD of it, which is really, really cool. I might do a giveaway of that in one of my videos coming up in the next few days, so keep your eyes out if you're interested in that. It's a DVD, but it's a really cool version. I believe it's Anchor Bay with a booklet and all sorts of things. I might do it as a giveaway in one of my upcoming videos, so let me know if you're interested in that. But that'd be probably for UK viewers, just because it's regional locked. But there we go. But yeah, I watched this and it was great to see it again, and it looked stunning in 4K. The colours absolutely popped on it, and it looked really, really cool. Again, it's another one of those sort of films that was fantastic for the first act. Middle act's a little bit slow, and then the final act is awesome. It's one of those sort of films, you know, a bit like the one I told you a bit earlier, the Toolbox Murders. So it's quite similar to that. It goes all out, slows down, and then goes all out again. Really cool film though. And that, guys, is 12 movies that I've watched recently over December that have been fantastic and awesome. Haven't you seen any of those? Let me know down below if you have. Really cool. So I'm going to be doing some more reviews over the next few weeks. Now, I'm back to work full time, back into full hours now. So I'm not sure how many videos I'm going to get out. I probably won't be able to get them out every day like I've been doing. That's simply because I've been ill and I've been on reduced hours. I've had time to sort of like do things like that I love doing, watching movies, reviewing them and things. But obviously that's going to be cut back a little bit now because I'm back to full time, so I'm going to be back onto sort of like really early starts or really late finishes. So I'm going to try and fit them in as often as I possibly can. But they will be on there because I've got a few I want to do. I want to review the Doctor Who films, the Fright Night. There's a good few horrors I've not looked at yet that I still need to review on my channel. So I've got like a pile of films like that I've brought that I'm going to watch and review for you. And also there's going to be new films coming out soon. Obviously Halloween Ends is coming out. I will pick that up and I will give you my review on it. I've avoided it so far because of the hype of the release of it in the cinema. As you know, if you see my channel, I do not go into any horror movie with any expectations apart from having a good time, and I'm sure I'm going to have a good time watching it. I really am. And I've got a few more sort of horror films coming up. Obviously I want to do my Hammer week. I will be doing a week of Hammer horror reviews. So there's quite a bit on in the pipeline coming, and there's a few sort of if you're interested in the spider side of my channel, there will be some spider rehousings and unboxings coming up in the next few weeks. So keep your eyes open for those. And I'll also be doing some more game reviews because I quite enjoy doing those. I've been putting game sort of footage up on my channels, but now I've decided to play the games a bit and then put up a review. Obviously I'm not going to be in the video because I don't own a camera with me. If I had a camera with my console, I would set it up where I'd be in a little box in the bottom there, but I don't have that. But so it'll just be game footage with me talking over it with my review of it. So that's all going to be coming up. Please check out some horror channels for me, guys, till the next video if you can. Please check out Horror Hands, Horror Geek, Man v Film, RS Designs, Pizzawell, I Am the Ice Lord, and of course check out Sarah of Horror. All great channels. Until next time, guys, look after yourself, look after one another, and I really hope I see you all soon.